Hi, welcome back to another video here on the Sam Cooks Kindness YouTube channel. I am Sam and I am so happy that you are here. Today we are talking about my secret to success, how I lost my 68 pounds and how you can do it too. Basically what that means is that we are going to break down calorie density and how to use it in your lifestyle. I came from a history of fad dieting, lots of restriction leading to lots of overeating over time, and this is ultimately why I failed. You can fast forward to now, I'm down 68 pounds, I've kept it off, and it's all because I learned and implemented low calorie dense eating into my life. Calorie density matters because it influences the volume of food that you can eat while still staying within your calorie goals. It's especially helpful if you're aiming to manage your weight or feel full on fewer calories. So let's talk about this. Ultimately, what this means is that if you can follow the rules of calorie density and know what's a low calorie dense food versus a high calorie dense food, you can ultimately lose weight without ever having to count a calorie. Stick around to the end of this video because I'm gonna share with you my favorite tips that I think you can implement today easily to help you on this journey. When you're trying to lose weight, it's calories in, calories out, right? You have to eat less calories than what you consume. But the thing is, nobody likes to go hungry. So cutting calories often leads to being overly hungry, and that's always what caused me to fail in the past. Something that's important to know is that our stomachs have receptors in them that will tell us when we're hungry, and there's a bunch of different ones, but one important one that we're going to talk about today is our stretch receptors. Stretch receptors in our stomach basically trigger your stomach to tell your brain that it's time to stop eating because you're full. And just like the name says, when your stomach starts to stretch because you've put food in it, that's when that signal is supposed to shoot up to your brain. So take that idea and let's kind of make it something that's easier to understand. So say that in order for you to feel full at a meal, you need to eat about 4 cups of food. This is just a theoretical. So let's just say you have to eat 4 cups of food to stretch out your stomach enough so that you feel full. Imagine that you filled up your stomach with 4 cups of broccoli and your stretch receptors went off and your stomach's telling your head, okay, you're starting to get full, versus if you filled your stomach with 4 cups worth of macaroni and cheese. So this is the idea of calorie density. Can you imagine the broccoli versus the macaroni and cheese? The same amount of volume, you ate 4 cups of each, which is going to be lower in calories? Obviously the broccoli. So the broccoli is the lower calorically dense food in that example. Why this matters ultimately is because you can fill up on volume, you can lower your calorie density by including these foods, these lower calorie dense foods into your meals, and you won't have to count calories because you're already reducing the amount of calories because you're filling up, you're bulking on the lower calorie dense foods and having less of the higher calorie dense foods. So what exactly is calorie density? Calorie density is just a fancy way of saying the amount of calories that are in a gram of food. Low calorie dense foods are going to have fewer calories for higher volume, while higher calorically dense foods are going to have higher calories for a lower volume. So an example here to give you an idea is, let's say we are eating 100 calories worth of olive oil versus 100 calories worth of broccoli. 100 calories of olive oil are only going to get you less than a tablespoon worth of food, whereas 100 calories of broccoli is going to get you 2 whole cups, maybe even 2.5 cups worth of food. So you can see the difference in volume here. So what is going to keep you fuller in that situation? The olive oil or the broccoli? The broccoli, and it's going to get you fuller for less calories and more bulk. What this basically means is that the lower calorie dense food is one that you're going to be able to eat a ton of with a lot less calories, which is ideal if you're trying to cut calories or lose weight, or if you just like to eat a large volume of food like I do. I like visuals, so here's a clear way to really picture this idea. Instead of having to Google the calorie density of every single food, a chart like this can be a helpful reference to let you know if you're building your plates in a way that will help you reach your goals. You can find charts like this all over the internet. I threw this one together and I will link it down below for your reference that you can save on your phone if you'd like to. And this will just give you an idea of what is lower in calorie density versus higher in calorie density. This chart shows you the calories by pound. So if you're eating above the line, those are less calorically dense foods, whereas below the line is more calorie dense foods. Does this mean that you shouldn't be eating high calorie dense foods? Absolutely not. It's just an idea to help you have a reference point to know when you're building your plates or your meals, what you should really be filling up on if you're trying to cut the calories. Not all high calorically dense foods are unhealthy. A lot of them are really, really good for you. They're rich in nutrients like avocados and nuts and seeds. These are all foods that are good for you. They're just higher in calories for a lower volume. So you just have to be aware when you're adding those to your plate that that's going to affect the calories overall. Now, higher calorie dense foods are great for boosting the calories. If you need to gain weight, you can use this idea in the opposite way, where you're eating more of those higher calorie dense foods and less of the lower calorie dense foods. So the idea really is something that everybody should just kind of be aware of, because it can help you whichever end of the spectrum you're on. Also, those higher calorie dense foods are often foods that are highly palatable and delicious foods, so you should enjoy them sometimes. Just be aware of your goals in the long run and if you're going to be eating a lot of those or maybe a little bit of those. So think about your portion control. If you're trying to lose weight, think of the portion control for the higher calorie dense foods. Use less of them, use them more as a condiment or just a smaller portion so that you're not making the overall calories of your meal go up too much, and pair them with lower calorie dense foods, which is what I like to do. I really like the idea of the 50-50 plate, where you do half of your plate non-starchy veggies or low calorie dense foods and half of your plate a little bit higher calorie dense foods. I like to stick above that line for my meal, so I'm still using the idea of low calorie density by including potatoes, rice, grains, oats, all those kinds of things to help me stay full, as well as tofu is above that line too. So I like to use that in there for protein. And that you can really build a filling plate like this that you can still keep low in calories overall, and it'll help you reach your goals in the long run. So don't be scared of eating things underneath that line. This isn't supposed to be something that is scary. It's just supposed to be some knowledge to add to your database that you know, okay, those foods are higher in calories, these foods are less in calories, and I'm going to lean up towards the top of the chart and not so much towards the bottom of the chart, but doesn't mean you can't include those foods. So if you're brand new to this idea, if you're just learning about calorie density and how it affects the overall calories that we eat in a day, I have a couple tips for you. My first tip is to start small. If you're choosing to up your veggies so that you can eat more bulk and you never really ate veggies before, don't go all in eating 2 pounds a day like I eat. You have to start small and build your way up. Set yourself a simple goal, like maybe you want to reach a half a pound of veggies in a day, or maybe you want to just incorporate a little bit of veggies into every meal and work your way up, because if you try to jump right in after not having lots of fiber in your life, it may upset your stomach. So what I recommend is choosing the veggies that you actually like. Don't go crazy trying to buy every single vegetable in the store. Stick with the ones that you actually enjoy, the ones that you're actually gonna eat, and just eat them on repeat until you start to get used to it. And then slowly over time, you can increase the volume of those and reduce the volume of some of the other side of your plate, some of the higher calorie dense foods. You can slowly increase the veggies over time so that your gut will thank you and that you are slowly reducing the overall calories of your meal without jumping all in, because when you go from one extreme to the other, that's when you're gonna have a fail and then you're gonna feel bad. So ease your way in and take it easy on yourself. My next tip for you is to save a calorie density chart to your phone. Make it the background of your phone, make it a reference point. If you're not familiar with what's high calorie density, what's low calorie density, you don't have to Google every single time if you have a quick reference to pull up in your pictures. So snap a picture of that chart that I posted. I'll link it for you, like I said, and have it as a reference point. Remember, you want to be eating mostly above the line to keep your calories on the low side and less below the line. And lastly, don't think that this is a quick fix. You're not gonna lose weight if that's your goal super quickly just because you start eating some low calorie dense foods. Yes, it's gonna overall reduce your calories and maybe you will have a big weight loss in the beginning, who knows? But my tip is to make sure you're tracking your weight so that you can track your data over time. Don't attach any kind of emotional response to the number. Just check it every single day or every single week, whatever is gonna work for you. And keep an eye on that. And don't panic if the number's not going down right away. I like to check almost a 4-week trend before I change anything in my diet. So if my weight is staying the same for 4 weeks, then I know that I am at maintenance calories and I need to adjust something, maybe include more of the lower calorie dense foods on my plates so that that number will start to trend down again. But in the 4 weeks that I'm tracking, if it's going up, then obviously I know I'm eating too many calories, probably more of those higher calorie dense foods than I should be having. And then I try to adjust my plate so that I have more lower calorie dense foods and less higher calorie dense foods. And then I track it all again. You stick with it for at least 4 weeks to make sure it's working. I know that sounds like it takes forever, but this is your life and it's not a quick fix. So take your time, learn to be patient, and just build some plates with veggies. I hope this was a clear explanation, kind of calorie density 101 for beginners, what to do when you want to eat lower calorie density, what the heck lower calorie dense food is. Let me know if this was helpful at all. This is how I lost the weight. I focused on eating low calorie dense foods and less higher calorie dense foods, and it's as simple as that. Let me know if this was helpful. Let me know if you took anything from it, if there's anything you're going to implement in your own life. I would love to hear about the journey you're on. If this is something that you already know about, let me know if it's been helpful for you on your journey. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so that you never miss another video. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!